Hello there guys, my name is MrYorkiesWorld, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part number 2 of the Manchester to Palma, Palma to Manchester flight, if you can even call it that. Today we're going to be taking Jet2 flight 926 back from Palma all the way over to Manchester. We're at gate 40 where we had a bit of an issue in the last video. We didn't really know which gate GSX was telling us to go to. It told us to go to 41, I believe, and there isn't a 41. So this is classed as gate 40, and as you can see, we've got the catering on the go, and we're going to be flying back on a 2-hour and 59-minute flight to Manchester. The time is currently around 6:30 in the evening, or 16:34 Zulu. We should be arriving about 8:54 PM local time back in the UK. So we should be departing about, I'd say, it says according to FlightAware, 7:04 PM. So we'll soon see whether that works out or not. Right. Apologies for the temporary sound loss there. We can go straight ahead and check the parking brake, which is already set. We've already done that. The fuel in payload, so the fuel, we're actually going to be taking a little bit more fuel than last time, and it's going to be 10,024 kilograms, sorry, 10,024 kilos of fuel. Stick that in there, and we can switch on the fuel pump, ISO valve to auto, start the APU, emergency lights, seatbelt signs, and everything else. Our flight or cruise level today is going to be 340. We need to close some doors for GSX, and I'm going to go straight ahead and request boarding as well. Get that on the go. We can go RTO with the auto brake. We can sort out the TCAS XPDR. We do need to align the IRSs. And of course we need to open up the left aft entry as well, just for the passengers that will be climbing up the stairs. We've got the jetway there, and obviously there's stairs there as well. So with that, pressurization and everything set, the APU's been started. We can get on with the FMC. So, pausing it, we are currently at LEPA, or Lima Echo Papa Alpha. We're at gate 40. It's worked this time, that's a shock. We can stick the GPSL position in there as well. And we have got a co-route, hopefully it's going to work. So LEPA to EGCC. There we go. And we need to find out the departure runway. So we're going to request clearance.
Clearance delivery, EXS9026, with the 80s for request clearance.
EXS9026, what's your position?
Parking position, Terminal 1, EXS9026.
EXS9026, expect clearance within 2 minutes.
So we've got to wait for clearance, that's fine, that's no problem.
EXS9026.
What else can we do? Can't really do a great deal, to be honest, because we need to know what's going on. So we're going to put the flight number in, which is LS 926. I forgot then. Just going to wait for the clearance to give us the active runway.
EXS9026, ready to copy.
We are ready, go ahead.
EXS9026, clear to destination airport.
Which it hasn't done.
Oscar 3 Alpha, departure and F5, climb to flight level 60.
Departure runway 24 right.
Departure frequency is 131.15, transponder 27572. QNH 1016.
Cleared by MER, Oscar 3 Alpha, departure, climb into flight level 60.
6,000 on the initial.
40, then 10 minutes after departure.
And of course 24 right has 239 on the heading.
Squawk 7572, QNH 1016, EXS9026.
Right, perfect it. Our reserves
Roger.
are 0.48.
EXS9026.
Cost index is 9. I believe it's between 7 and 9 for Jet2. We're just going to put 9 in. 340 is going to be the cruise, and 6,000 feet is going to be the transition altitude, because we're within Europe. So 24k D rate with flaps 5. I will just bring over the winds as well. We've got active sky open, which is telling us 210 at 12 knots. So stick that in there. That gives us our speeds, 147 knots on the V2. Although we do indeed need to go ahead and sort the departure out as well. So depart, 24 right, and we're going to be using the Mero 3 Alpha SID. If I can find it, Mero 3 Alpha, there we go. Doesn't appear to be any transition, so that's fine. I'm going to select the arrival as well. We shouldn't really do that until we get there, but just for the sake of it. So we're going to be using the Dane 2 Alpha for ILS runway 05 right. And there doesn't appear to be a transition on there either, so that's fine. We'll just leave that as it is. Check for any discontinuities. There's one. Just clear it. Everything else is looking fine. That's perfect. Just make sure those takeoff speeds are correct. Still 147. What I will do is transfer the APU power, yaw damper, window heats. We'll switch on the wheel well light for the walk around, although that should have happened by now. I should assume. We're going to put some fix information in, so Echo Golf Charlie Charlie. And put our radius rings in as we always do. There we go. And I will of course test the TCAS as well.
TCAS test pass.
TCAS has passed. LNAV and VNAV. And the only thing left to do... I don't know what the hell's happening there. There's some sort of weird bug. It's going to be flickering around a little bit. Let's just zoom out, see if it works. No. It doesn't seem to like this particular waypoint. But nevertheless, there we go. We're currently waiting on the baggage. And as soon as the baggage... In fact, it's not even started yet. The baggage trucks are nowhere to be seen. Where are they? Oh, there they are. So we're currently waiting for those. And then we should be able to start the before start checklist and everything and get ready to go. So without further ado, I will catch up with you guys in just a few moments. Or for you, it will just be a few seconds. See you in a minute.
Baggage handling is complete and the aircraft is clear, sir.
Right. Baggage handling's complete. That's perfectly fine. We can go ahead and close the doors. Close, close. Close, close. Get rid of the jetway. Which should be on its way. There we go. We can, of course, at this stage, start the before start checklist. So, go up here. Auto throttle. Anti-collision light, wheel well can come off. Hydraulics. Fuel pumps. And of course we do need the ground connections gone. There we go. Second FMC can go onto the legs page. First FMC can go onto the takeoff ref page. And we can go ahead and request startup and pushback. Let me just select the departure. EFB. So that's 24 right. This is going to be the departure, or the direction, so we're going to go tail left, sorry. And it's going to take us on a journey all the way over here, not too far to be honest, to 24 right. I'm thinking, because it's evening time, we should probably put on the logo lights. And I'm going to put the wing lights on as well, just for the sake of it. So let's bring about GSX. The current time is 16:46 Zulu, and we should be departing at 17:04. So we are ahead of schedule, that's perfect. So pushback and departure. Why do we only have a tail right departure? So we're going to use a straight pushback instead, because we do actually need to go tail left. But for some bizarre reason it doesn't seem to want us to do it. Potentially due to the way that the taxiways are set out, because I assume in that case that you're not allowed to go the way that we're going to go, but that's what we're doing anyway, so wish us luck.
Good day, sir. Just waiting for some apron traffic while the duck's position. Be pushing back in a couple of minutes. Parking brake on, please.
Parking brake's already set, that's all fine. Altimeter's set as well. In fact, it's very rare I see 3000.
Lock in the gear.
In fact, I might just turn on a bit of lighting as well.
Tuck is in position, bypass pin is inserted. Apron's now clear, ready to push. Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brake is released.
Clear behind, commencing push. Engine's clear, start at your discretion.
Engine 2. That'll do for me. Just going to keep an eye on the way that we're pushing back and the location that we are. Ideally, I see why it might. Yeah, I'm starting to see what the problem is. We need to be going right and then round in a circle. You're right. Let's just ask GSX to stop and we can complete the procedure ourselves. It's not a problem.
Push now complete, set parking brakes please.
Parking brake set. That'll do for me. Yeah, I've got a good idea of what we need to do now. We essentially need, we've just been pushed back, but of course we need to go right. It's saying that we need to turn right. So if we go round here, there should be a loop. Just go around and head that way and we should be okay. At least that's what I hope is going to happen.
Tap disconnected and clear, bypass pin is removed.
Right, okay, both engines have successfully spooled up. Continuous. Roll Peats. APU power. APU bleed. APU. Packs. We can set the flaps.
Clear. Disconnecting now. Have a good flight. Bye-bye.
And set the trim, which is telling us 5.17. There we go. And while we're at it, we'll do a quick full left, full right. In fact, did we see an aircraft over there landing? Seems to be an aircraft landing on runway 24 right. It's interesting. So let's go full forward, full back, and full left on the rudder and full right on the rudder. Is the truck out of the way? I believe so. The GSX fellow has just literally disappeared. Taxi and turn-offs. We can request permission to taxi.
Grant EXS9026, request taxi.
EXS9026, taxi via Golf Hotel 3, runway 24 right.
Right, okay, so we've been cleared to taxi. 16:51 Zulu.
EXS9026.
And we need to turn sort of a sharp turn to the right, really. And go round in that loop.
Lufthansa 1154, taxi via Echo, Sierra, Oscar, Uniform, Tango, Hotel, departing position 4.
Taxi via Echo Sierra Oscar Uniform Tango Hotel 2, parking spot 34, Lufthansa 1154.
And I'm going to follow the taxiway, even though I could literally just turn to the right and go all the way around and just abandon the taxi line. But I think we're within the taxi line anyway. Here we go, there's the taxi line. Slow down a little bit. Try and turn this thing as best I can. That'll do. Can't really do much more, to be honest. So I'm wondering whether or not it's going to be dark, and whether the night textures are going to be any good, of night lighting over at Manchester. We do have dynamic lighting enabled, so it's hopefully going to be a nice surprise. Trying to keep that speed just below 15 knots as we take this next turn into the left. Trying to remember that this is not a rally car, it is indeed an aircraft. I'm also interested to see what the actual island looks like in the evening, because obviously it's like 16:53 Zulu, so 6:53 PM at the moment. We're due to depart at 7:04. It's looking quite promising. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Try and watch where I'm going. We've got a right turn coming up. You'll notice by the title of the video we are still not in version 4.5 of P3D, and that's because I'm waiting to make sure that everything is as compatible as possible with 4.5 before I go ahead and ruin everything that I've got so far in the simulator. The last thing I want to do is start updating things and for stuff to go wrong, so I thought instead of causing an unnecessary delay in videos, we might as well just use what we've got. We know that it works. I just can't get over how look at the sun, that is absolutely amazing. Not very cloudy. It's about 18 degrees at the moment. Celsius. Just the way I like it, nice and warm. And yeah, we do get some blurriness in some of the textures, and it's not 100% how I'd like it to appear, but to be honest, I'm not going to complain. Definitely not going to complain. They've put a lot of work into this. The Aerosoft, the Lyric Islands, is an absolutely fantastic piece of scenery. Trying to keep control of that speed. But we are looking pretty good. Frames are quite nice as well. I'd say we're dealing with about 60 frames per second, although down here at the right hand side at the bottom I usually have an indication of my FPS, but for some reason Shadowplay no longer wishes to show me that when I'm in the simulator, which I don't know why that is. I have the option selected for the overlay, but for some bizarre reason, it does not like to show me it. Try and tone that speed down a little bit. There we go with a lovely wing view. Trying to keep control of the speed without actually losing control of the aircraft at the same time while I'm looking at these amazing views. Wonderful.
EXS926, contact tower on 118.3.
118.3, EXS926.
And here we go. Hotel 3 is where we're going to go onto the runway. Let's just reduce that speed down a little bit. As we take the turn into the right or the left. Don't know my left to rights today. I don't know what's going on. So there's a sign for 24 right. So we've confirmed the runway. And we're going to let tower know that we're ready to go.
Tower EXS926. Hold it short at runway 24 right, ready for departure. EXS926. Line up runway 24 right.
We can line up straight away.
Runway 24 right,
Let's go ahead and switch on the transponder. Landing lights, taxi off. Strobes. Try and not make a mess of the lineup.
EXS926, wind 210 at 12, runway 24 right, cleared for takeoff, good flight.
Okay, clear for takeoff. Start the clock. 40%.
EXS926.
Toga. Listen to those engines. Airspeed alive. $80 knots. V1.
V1.
Rotate.
V2.
There we go. Positive rate. Gear up. Try and go wings level. Look at that.
Roger, EXS926.
Beautiful.
With you passing 700, for flight level 60.
EXS926. Radar contact. Continue via...
Just trying to control the pitch.
Departure, plan to flight level 60.
Via the MER, Oscar 3 Alpha departure, climbing to flight level 60, EXS926.
Looking good. And without further ado, autopilot is in command. 6,000 feet spammed. Gear is locked. Auto brake off. Runway turn-offs off. Engines back to the off position. Seatbelts can go to auto. And go flaps 1. And look at that amazing scenery. Lovely departure. Absolutely gorgeous. And we can go flaps up now. Coming up on a turn to the left.
EXS926. Climb to flight level 120.
120 on the altitude.
Flight level 120, EXS926.
Looking absolutely lovely. Right, what I am going to do is I'm going to go to the forecast page on here and just change the transition altitude to 6,000. Because for some reason it doesn't always happen as it should. Legs page now. And we're going to begin that turn to the left. Absolutely lovely. As we go into the clouds. speed's looking good. Just going to bug up the heading as best I can. 6,000 feet, standard. 1701 Zulu, and we're airborne. 3 minutes early, almost. Look at that. Again, there's going to be some sort of 2019 compilation of me saying, look at that. And I'm not really bothered because that is amazing.
EXS926, climb to flight level 220.
Climbing to flight level 220, EXS926.
220 now. Lovely clouds, lovely reflections, lovely ocean, and an overall amazing view. Look at that. Lovely sunshine there. Coming up on 10,000 feet now. Landing lights off. The passenger signs are already on auto. It's fine. Absolutely wonderful. Logo light can come off. And the wing light. And the speed should now start to increase now that we're above 10,000. So over there to our left, somewhere, is the airport, and I believe it's down there. Goodbye, Palma. We'll see you soon. So, we're above 10,000 feet. We're climbing to 220. So without further ado, I will catch up with you guys in a little bit. I'm going to leave you with some cinematics on the way back to Manchester. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Wonderful departure there. As we begin another turn to the left. I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on. Okay guys, so as you can see, it has got a lot darker and the sun is literally just about to go down. We're just coming over England, to be perfectly honest, just ahead of Dartford, and it's 1909 Zulu, and as you can see, the 150 mile radius mark is just there as well. So we're going to prepare the aircraft to descend. So the frames are probably going to go down the pan because of the settings, because I've not changed my settings for night time to take that into account, so get ready for that. But let's just go into this page here. So 111.55, that is the frequency, which is now active. We're going to be using flaps 30 at 141 knots. So +5, that's 146. So we'll put that in here. I'm going to do what I did last time and use auto brake 1 this time, just for the sake of it. It says down here that the course is 052. So I'm actually going to put that in there. So 052, 052, and again, so we're just coming past Dartford here, near Grays, Southend-on-Sea, all that good stuff. I've decided to turn on these cities because I'm terrible with geography, so it helps me get a good idea of where we are. Pretty straightforward arrival. In fact, have I even selected it? Let's have a look. What? Yeah, it's all selected. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but anyway, approach.
Chennai 9026.
Here we go.
Down to flight level 230.
230. Let's just change that.
Descend to flight level 230, EXS 9026.
Start the descent. So elevation is 186 plus 200. That's 386 on the Barrow. Let's just come down here. Oops, wrong one. .386 on that side. .386 on that side. Again, so we're using auto brake 1. And apart from that, there's not much else we can do really. We've begun the descent. ETA is about 22 minutes from now, and it's currently 19:11 Zulu. Progress page says 1941 Zulu is when we should be arriving, so it should be pretty interesting. So in the meantime, I am going to take this aircraft down and fly a little bit closer to the ground. Got some nice lighting going on. I think that's what might be causing the frames to drop. But look at that, absolutely lovely. So, without further ado, I think we've set everything else up. There's nothing else we can really set up, so I will catch up with you guys when we're a little bit later on into the flight. Okay guys, so here we go. We are almost ready for approach. We are at 230 knots at the moment, 8,000 feet. And we do have flaps 5 extended with all the lights on. Looking lovely. There's the ILS feathers. This is the approach. Delta Alpha Yankee November Echo is our next waypoint. We turn left up there and then follow it around in a little loop, and it should bring us back onto the ILS feathers for runway 05 right. Looking absolutely gorgeous outside. Just waiting for that clearance from tower. Although they are leaving it a little bit short. Or a little bit late. Because we're almost there. Going to drop the speed to 220 knots. Still well within the flap 5 speed, as you can see. And of course that reduction in speed will also help with when it comes down to dropping our altitude a little bit. Something that we won't have to worry about, but look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Everything is configured up here, I should imagine. Engines are continuous, runway turn-offs are on, and all that good stuff. Wing lights, logo lights are on, and obviously the landing lights are on as well. It looks like it is going to be a very, very rapid descent. If we just zoom out a little bit, this is where we are here. We've only got from here to here to be able to get down to, I think it's 3,000 feet. So that's like a 5,000 foot difference. So hopefully we should be okay.
level 90, easy 1841.
Express 902, turn left heading 250, ascend and maintain flight level 60, QNH 10.
So 6,000 feet now.
Left turn to heading 250, descend into flight level 60, QNH 1027, EXS 926.
We're going to follow the heading that ATC have given us, even though the flight plan says different. And I will, of course, use level change just to make sure that we are descending at a rate which is going to be acceptable. And the airport is there, on our right somewhere. I don't know whether that's it, I don't think it is, although it could be. I think this is more than likely the airport. I think we can leave level change to do the rest of it, to take us down to 6,000. So we're on a vectored heading of 250 at the moment, which, if we look on EFB, is completely away from the flight plan. The flight plan would have told us to go down there, and actually it would have told us to go around here somewhere. But we seem to be going directly to the first waypoint here off the ILS feathers, or second one off the ILS feathers, which is fine for me. Here comes 6,000 feet. Now I'm not going to change to standard until we go below, or change to the QNH before we go below. I'm going to wait until we just drop below 6,000 feet to do that. Increase that speed to about 230 knots, just for the time being. We can always drop it back. Still well within the flap limits. Flap 5 we can go up to 250 knots, so we do have some incredible lighting, and this is just normal sim lighting. I think Rex has got something to do with it, and I think Orbex lights or something like that. It's in the add-on spreadsheet if anybody's wondering, but absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. (1941) Zulu at the moment. According to the progress page, 1946 is when we should be touching down. So the speed has changed to flaps 30 at 140, which gives us 145, which is only a 1 knot difference, but still. Lovely clouds as well. Really dark. Not sure whether that's realistic or not, but it certainly looks nice. The frames are probably going to go down the pan a little bit, but we should be okay. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So we're not far at the moment. Stoke-on-Trent is just to our left. Over there somewhere. So it's not too far away from the airport, really. And if we look on the navigation display, you can see here the ILS feathers sort of stop there, so I'm expecting a ATC to tell us to make a right turn at some point in the near future. And as soon as they do, we'll drop that speed back to flaps 10 speed of 210 knots. Got an 11 knot tailwind, which will turn into a bit of a crosswind. 3000 and 015. 210 on the speed, or 205 just to be safe. Speed brakes, get them out as well, just to help with that descent.
Descend into 3000 QNH 1027. ILS approach, runway 05 right, EXS 9026.
Beautiful. So we can change over to the Barrow now, or come out of standard. Again, we're using auto brake 1. And I'm desperately trying to make sure the aircraft actually gets down to 3,000 feet as soon as possible. We can always reduce the speed at the last moment. The green banana's there, so it's perfectly fine.
Descend into 3000 cleared approach, tower at the marker 118.
So we'll go with VOR lock.
EXS 9026.
Localizer's coming in. In fact, the glide slope's okay there as well, to be honest, so we'll hit approach. Take the speed brake out. Lower the speed down to 195. In fact, we might need a little bit of help from that speed brake again. Just because we're dropping quite rapidly from the sky at the moment. There we go, 3,000 feet's coming up. Speed brake away. Arm it. Flaps 10. So at the moment we've got a 13 knot crosswind. Excellent. Cannot wait to see the effects that's going to have on the landing. And I will attempt to do some replays this time as well.
EXS 9026 on final, runway 05 right. 10x 9026, slow to final approach speed.
So final approach speed is 145.
Runway 05 right. Final approach speed, QNH 1.
Gear down, flaps 15.
Runway 05 right, EXS 9026.
Flaps 25. Second autopilot.
2500.
And flaps 30. So it's a 12 knot crosswind now, not as bad as it was, but it's still there. Just bug up the heading. So missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. The heading is set with using auto brake 1. We've got the speed brake armed. Gear is down with 3 greens. Flaps 30. All the lights are configured. Seatbelt signs are on. We are cleared for landing. Lovely night lighting again. And that wind has very quickly changed to a variable wind now at 10 knots. Just keeping an eye on that. Going to disconnect at about 1,000 feet. Maybe a little bit more. Beautiful view.
1,000.
There's 1,000 feet. Disconnecting. The aircraft is mine. Try and keep it nice and central. Can hardly see a thing, but I'm going to focus on the PFD more than anything. A little bit low. Definitely blowing me around a little bit. It's only a small wind now, so it should be okay. But you never know. So there's some trees in the way of the lights leading up to the runway.
300. Approaching minimum. Minimum.
Continue.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Little bit to the side. No, I'm going to go round. Okay, going around. Flaps 15, positive rate, gear up.
Too low. Gear.
That was a complete failure. It's been a long time since I've done this. Try and pitch the nose down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to bug the speed to about 250. And we can inform tower.
Declaring a missed approach, EXS 9026. Janix 9026. Roger, maintain present heading, climb to 3,500. Contact approach control.
3,500 feet.
8.62. Maintain present heading, climb into 3,500. 118.57. EXS 9026. Approach.
Well, that's the first go around in quite a while. I'm actually going to select auto brake 1.
Climb into 3,500 vectors. ILS approach, runway 05 right, EXS 9026.
Right, okay, we're looking stable. So let's go to the after takeoff checklist. So, engine start switches, back to normal. We can disengage the auto brake and everything like that. We'll sort that out in a few seconds. Let's just focus on getting this go around completed. Messed it up a little bit then. It wasn't a perfect go around. I do apologise. Not very often I do go rounds, and I need to touch up my skills a little bit. What I am going to do though is turn down the brightness of this and this, because it is quite distracting. There we go. A little bit better. It's not every day I do a go around. In fact, what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set auto brake 1, because that's what we would have used. We can lock the gear. We can set the engines back to continuous, because I don't know whether we should really have changed those, because we're still below 10,000. And if we look out the window, it is very, very dark. I was struggling with the visibility, to be honest. I'm not used to sort of night landings, so I do apologise about messing that up. What I will do is I will get back to you guys in just a few minutes once we're ready to have another go at the landing. Right, okay, so second time lucky. We've just been asked to turn to heading 240. You can see the ILS feathers. We're going to meet up with them right at the end, which hopefully will give us enough time to turn around and come back on ourselves again and have another go at such a failed landing there. I can't believe that was quite a bad landing. In fact, I was pressing the wrong button. I was pressing, instead of the toga button on the throttle, I for some reason was clicking the autopilot disconnect button on my joystick. Which is why the temporary delay in actually enabling takeoff thrust happened, or takeoff go-around thrust. So I almost completely messed up. But what would YouTube be if there wasn't a little bit of excitement?
Left turn to heading 185, EXS 9026.
So 185, I'm not sure what they're asking us to do this for. I can only assume that we're going to turn left and then come back on ourselves right, so we can have a better chance at getting to the ILS feathers there. Better sort of approach, I should imagine. You can see it is now almost completely pitch black. It's 1958 Zulu. 1959 Zulu is apparently when we're going to be touching down. I very highly doubt it, because that time is literally in the next 5 seconds. Maybe not, but yeah. So, I doubt that's when we're going to be landing. So 240 again. See, now you can see what they've been doing. So they've got us away from the feathers a little bit here, bit of spacing. We're going to meet up with them right at the end, and then it should be a nice easy right turn straight onto the ILS again. What I will do is rearm the speed brakes. Auto brake 1. All the lights are still on, engines are still continuous and everything like that, so don't need to change anything there. And hopefully this landing will go a little bit better. We're currently looking at a 12 knot crosswind by the looks of it. So hopefully I might be able to control it a little bit better. I will try and disconnect a little bit closer to the ground this time, instead of leaving it at 1,000 feet. Because I really do need to get this bird down. What are we looking at in terms of fuel, actually? Where do I... let me have a look. I'm having a blank moment. Oh, there we go. So 1.23 tons. Or 2.5 tons. So we should be okay. Nothing too major. Well, at least it got us to have a good look around the area of Manchester Airport. Nice little detour. Not that we've not already seen that area, but there we go. So what's the progress say? So it's 2002 Zulu. It's currently 2000 hours. Or 2000 hours, or however you say it. So I am going to go and drop the speed down to 240 knots. And then I'll put us at flap 5. So flap 1's on the way down. Flap 2. And we'll go for flap 5. Drop that speed to 220 knots. And let's just make sure that the final approach speed, so 139, that's 144 at flaps 30. So we should be receiving that instruction for the right turn anytime soon, which will hopefully allow us to try again with this approach. But we do need to reduce down to 3,000 feet. We're at 3,500 at the moment.
Express 902, turn right heading 015, till CDF 054, descend and maintain 3,000, clear to ILS, approach runway 05, right. Right turn to heading 015, continue on navigation to CF 05R, descend into 3,000.
And I'm going to reduce to 205 knots.
EXS 9026.
A little bit of help from the speed brake. In fact, we'll go to 195. So flap 10. Speed brakes in. And arm them as well. So we're at 3,000 feet now. Take the speed back to 180.
Express 902, descend and maintain 3,000, clear to final approach power at the marker. Frequency is 118.62.
We can go for VOR lock.
Cleared approach, tower at the marker. 118.62, EXS 9026.
Just going to increase that speed just to compensate for the attitude there. We can always reduce right back down. Here comes the glide slope. Should be contacting tower anytime soon. And faintly make out the runway. I am going to arm the approach.
Tower EXS 9026. On final, runway 05 right. Channix 9026. Slow to final approach.
Gear down,
QNH
flap 15.
1027. Cleared to land runway
And we can reduce
05
that
right.
speed down to 144.
QNH 1027. Cleared to land runway 05 right. EXS 9026.
Flap 25. And flap 30. Speed's looking good, everything's looking good. So again, we've got the speed brake is armed, there we go. We've got auto brake 1, we've got gear down, 3 greens. We've got flaps 30, lights and signs, everything's on. And we've been cleared to land. So runway heading is 054. And we can arm the second autopilot there as well. So I'm going to wait until a little bit later than 1,000 feet this time, just to make sure that I'm fully in control of the aircraft before we take manual control, and then I will try to literally slam this thing into the ground safely, of course. And I will remember this time, if we do need to go around, to have my finger on the toga button rather than the autopilot disconnect button,
Runway 05 left, clear to take off.
which obviously will do absolutely nothing.
Runway 05 left, Ryanair 1557.
So land 3 has been confirmed. Speed's looking good at 144 knots. 2008 Zulu and 2009 is at the apparent arrival time that we should be dealing with. Whether that happens, that's another question, that's another story.
1,000.
So there's 1,000 feet. Again, we're going to wait. We're not going to disconnect straight away. That wind is again variable at 8 knots. I think that's what put us off last time. We sort of must have had a gust of wind that just changed randomly and put us completely off course. So we are going to wait this time and see where it gets us. See if we can hold off a little bit. So any time about now, got a 7 knot wind now, a little bit longer, still very, very variable. So screw it, let's disconnect now.
400.
Try not to balloon it.
300. Approaching minimum. Minimum.
Continue.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Touchdown. Idle reverse. Finally a successful landing.
Channix 9026. Gate is left, contact ground control on 121.75.
And I'm going to declare 60 knots, manual braking. Auto brake can come off. And we can take this exit to the left.
Jersey 488.
Second time lucky.
Jersey 488. Taxi via Kilo Charlie Alpha to runway 05 left via Kilo Charlie Alpha to runway 05 left, Jersey 488.
Right. Well that, ladies and gentlemen, was pretty intense. So let's just contact tower.
Gravity XS9026 is cleared off the runway. Request taxi for parking.
Annex 9026, taxi via Victor Golf to Terminal 1, Gate 12.
Terminal 1, Gate 12.
Terminal 1, Gate 12.
So we've got the directions for that. We're going to be crossing another runway. However, we do need to just stop here a minute. I'm going to stop here and just do a little bit of... a few bits and pieces. Right, okay, so... flaps, let's put those up. In fact, if we leave the flaps out... not at 40 though. Because what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put the replay on, but we need to get rid of Ultimate Traffic Live first, so toggle the aircraft off. And let's have a look at some of the replays from that landing. Right, okay, so we can stop the clock, and now we can put the flaps up. I was pretty impressed with that, actually. Not too bad. Landing lights can come off, taxi lights can come on, engines to the off position, strobes to steady, and what else? We can switch off the probe heats, start the APU. We can then switch a few things on the MCP off. Sort all these out. Re-enable Ultimate Traffic Live, just so that it looks somewhat realistic. Switch over these frequencies again. And then we can turn off the dome light, which I only really have on for the sake of it. So, here we go. So we've been asked to taxi through Victor, Hotel, Juliet, to Gate 12, which appears to be a rather large gate. But nevertheless, we'll see what's occurring. So parking brake is released. And we will begin the taxi. So not too bad. We did have the first go-around, I believe, that I've ever done on the channel, and it was a little bit of a failure because, again, instead of actually clicking the toga button, I decided to click the autopilot disconnect button, which, as you might expect, does absolutely nothing. And I've just banged my microphone again. I really need to change the positioning of this microphone. Yeah, the autopilot disconnect button evidently does absolutely zero in a situation of wanting to do a go-around. So that was a stupid mistake on my behalf. I do apologise. But nevertheless, we're on the ground, second time lucky, with Jet2 at 926. And we're going to taxi to the gate, so I'm not going to bore you. I will catch up with you guys in a few minutes when we're a little bit closer to the gate than what we are at the moment. Right, Okay, so somewhere around here, GSXs, and I think we might have found them. But where exactly? Ah, there we go. It's okay. We found them, we found them, we found them. Let's just switch off these lights. Try not to blind people as best we can. And let's attempt to dock here at a gate, which probably isn't the correct gate. Just make sure that we're somewhat central. Hopefully we're going to have a working jetway, it would be nice. Right. There we go. Not perfect, but who cares? So with that, we can transfer the APU power. We can cut the engines. I'm going to switch on the dome light. APU bleed. The anti-collision light. Hydraulics. I'm going to go ahead and connect ground power. And we can switch off the seatbelt signs. Request deboarding. We do have a jetway, by the looks of it. So that's all good. So we can open the doors. Open the cargo. ISO valve we can open. And did I, or did I not? Yes, I did. I switched off the flight directors. So let's switch off the dome again.
Is complete and the aircraft is clear, sir.
And finally, everybody, after a go-around, or sort of a failed go-around, we finally made it to Manchester. So welcome, everybody. Don't know what the hell has happened there. That was a bit of a failure, wasn't it? Oh, there we go. Welcome, everybody, to Manchester. Hope you enjoyed this flight, which was a bit of a failure again, with Jet2 flight 926. Hopefully in the next video we might just see P3D 4.5, but there's no promises. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.